Okay, let's talk about limits. Evaluate to let's think about the following question. X going to 2 plus, and you have x squared plus 5 over 8 minus 4x. Now, if you were to draw this graph, it's actually drawing this graph is a very complicated question because it has a slanted asymptote, sometimes called oblique asymptote. Actually, not in that case. It has this kind of oblique asymptote. And it also has a vertical asymptote. Can you tell me where the vertical asymptote is at? Huh? 2. So, I'm not too sure, but it's something like this. It's something like this, and here, and the graph would be, I don't know, it could be like this one, or maybe vice versa. It could be this. I don't have the full knowledge of the graph. But yet, what I'm trying to say is that if you follow this graph from the right, here's 2, towards 2, where would you be going towards 2? Okay? I mean, if this was the graph, then it's like, here's this friend Jim, that is our friend Jim, who's walking towards 2 from the right, and he's reporting back the altitude as he's approaching 2, and he's going down, and he feels very unsafe, right? But anyways, we see that he's going down to negative infinity. That's what we see. So if we had such a graph, then we can just determine from the graph that the limit is negative infinity. What if we didn't have the graph? I mean, as I said, I'm not even too sure that this is the answer. It could be something else. I think it is the answer. So here I'm trying to tell you how to figure out the limit without using the graph, just purely by algebraic expansion. So here's how we see it. If we plugged in 2 plus squared plus 5 and 8 minus 4 times 2 plus, we can actually figure out the sign. Okay. First, what does 2 plus mean? I'm plugging in a value that's very close to 2, like 2.1 or 2.01 or 2.001. That's like slightly more than 2. Right? So if some value close to 2, if you square this, what do you get? Positive 4, right? And you get 4 plus 5, you're going to get 9. Okay. So you're going to get something close to 9, and we don't really care about the exact value. All we care is the fact that the top will evaluate to positive. If you plug in 2 plus, the top one will evaluate to positive value. Now what about this one? 4 times 2 is 8, but if you do 4 times 2 plus, which is slightly bigger than 2, would you get something slightly bigger than 8 or slightly less than 8? This thing will be slightly bigger than 8, so if you do 8 minus something that's slightly bigger than 8, would you get a positive or negative? You're going to get negative, right? So in fact, it will be a negative value that's very close to 0. So I want to be more specific here. 9 plus is what you get. You get some value that's slightly bigger than 9 in the top. And you're dividing it by a number that's slightly less than 0. Okay. What would that give you? First, would that give you a positive or negative? It will give you a negative, right? If you divide positive by negative, it's negative, right? And do you also agree that if you divide something finite by almost 0, you get infinity? Is that not so clear? If you divide 1 by 0.00001, what would you get? Huh? 100,000? Is that right? So isn't that big? So if you divided 1 by 0 plus, what would you get? Positive infinity. Right? If you divided 1 by 0 minus, what would you get? It would be negative. So in this case, because you're dividing something positive, a finite positive number, by a negative 0, a number that's close to 0 but negative, it's going to convert to negative infinity. That's how you think about it. Now, in some cases, trying to figure out whether it's going to be positive or negative is not so easy. So another way it's often taught is when you have to do an evaluation like that, first, observe that the top one goes to non-zero value, whereas the bottom does go to 0. So that means you're either going to get positive infinity or negative infinity. That's what you see. Once you figure that out, then the next step you do is just plug in something that's very close to 2. So, and it's not necessarily that hard. So if you plugged in, say, solution 2, try x equals to 2.0. That's close to 2, right? Slightly bigger than 2, and it's and it's very close to 2. So we plug that in on the top, and you get 2.01 squared plus 5 divided by 8 minus 4 times 2.01. The top one is about, this is about 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 5 is about 9. The bottom one is, what's that? 8 minus 8.04. So the bottom one would be negative 0.04. So what? That's like 225. I'm not so sure. I think it is negative 225. So negative 225. Is that right? Okay, yeah. So as you can see, you get a very huge number with the minus sign. So you can see that when you plug in something that's getting closer and closer to 2, you get negative infinity. That's another way to figure out. Okay? But I kind of like this method.